they'll feed you until you can't, and then they'll keep feeding you.
Hi, I'm Daniel.
Hello, I'm Antwoine.
And this is Food for the Soul, where we eat a bunch of food. And today we're going to be talking about what it's like to be a non-Korean going to a Korean church.
So this is bibimbap, oldang, tteokbokki, cabbage-based kimchi, mandu, 가전,
Chigamchi, namu.
감자탕, 갈비. Yeah, that's it.
So I am not Korean. I'm Chinese. Both my parents are of Chinese background. My dad is Taiwanese, but my mom is from China.
I am black. I am 100% black. Surprise! I went to a Howard County high school, and I was in a bunch of like upper level classes. So they were diverse, but my humor aligned more closely with the Koreans. So we ended up becoming friends. They ended up inviting me to one of their winter retreats. It's where I heard the gospel, and it's where I started going. When I graduated high school, I had some family issues that kind of removed me from living with my family. And it was my church that took care of me. They were my family. And then I just stayed there. I became a Bible study teacher.
Was it a specific family that kind of took you in? Was it like
It's just
the whole community? Was it?
it was generally the whole community, but there are certain individuals that really kind of just, stuck with me.
Were they your school friends, or how did you get to know them?
It's mostly my family, or their families, like their parents. And also because I was a Bible study teacher, like I had a lot of opportunity to talk to the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And all the parents I talked to were mostly from the English ministry side. So in the Korean church, if there's enough English speakers, there will be a Korean ministry and the English ministry.
Okay. Do you feel like you had a language barrier being in the church? You obviously picked up some Korean.
So everyone knew English on some level. Either A, they spoke it and understood it. B, they understood it and responded in Korean. And I could kind of like parse it together. Because I picked up a lot of Korean. I took Korean in college, and I also went to Korea. I had that stint in Korea in like 2013, yeah.
What was your first experience like stepping into that church? Obviously being different and not understanding maybe the full extent of what the culture is like, and not being welcomed into the family yet. What did that feel like stepping into it at first?
I do, however, remember one instance at the retreat where I was sleeping in the boys' cabin, obviously, and like I was trying to fall asleep, and then one of the guys came in and he was looking for something, and he like couldn't find it. So one of his friends was like, well, maybe the black person took it.
Oh no.
And it was just like, and I was still awake, so obviously I was like, the black person didn't take anything.
They said that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But they were like, I mean, we're all in high school, but
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I think about that now. I didn't think much of it then, obviously. I feel like there's an idea of like some, but not all of you can be accepted. But there's always going to be like that like stigma, especially for people that I'm not close with.
Yeah.
Because like obviously like, I wouldn't expect a comment like that from you, or so it's just like
like Antwoine is cool, but your brother or your cousin may not be.
Yeah, exactly. Overall, I think my experiences with just that church in particular, it felt like family. But there were instances where I felt that not all of me was accepted. But for the most part, I felt like I was loved, and that people were trying their best to love me where I was.
Are there any similarities that you find between Asian culture, Korean culture, and Black culture?
I think honestly, there's the obvious, like, like I think of the thing I think about specifically are like food and music. Like obviously, like you look at Korean music, and it's very obvious that there are some like borrows.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
I'll use the word borrows from like hip hop and R&B from this side of the pond. Even like obviously like maybe even food is like it's a little different. Fried chicken,
Hey, yeah.
yes, it's very obvious. But even like things like like I know that like Koreans will use everything on the animal, and so will black people. Pig feet. They're on both sides. What else is on both sides? Chicken feet. Actually, no, chicken feet is probably more black and Chinese than black and Korean.
Black people eat chicken feet?
Yes.
I knew pig feet. I didn't know chicken feet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think our elders, from my vantage point, they'll be very hospitable. They'll feed you until you can't, and then they'll keep feeding you. I think it's rooted in love, but also rooted in like, I want you to have what I didn't.
Do you feel like there were specific areas that had, I guess, conflicts? Like you and your background, the Koreans and their background, are there specific areas where conflicts are more naturally
I think
occurring?
Yes. So generally speaking, black people do not shy away from conflict.
Okay.
When there's an issue, we like to talk about it, or we like to like confront it and like stuff, or like if you have an issue, like we should talk about it. Generally speaking, Asian like culture dictates that like you are non-confrontational.
Yeah.
You can maybe take the route of passive aggression, or you can pretend that nothing's wrong when something might be. But what I've come across is that there have been times where things kind of boiled over, and I'll get into conflicts that come out of nowhere because it's a little thing that broke the camel's back.
I see. Like someone has been harboring some issue about, I don't know, something that you do or something that you say for a very long time. Or then like it's like, why do you have to bring everything up? Like, why can't you just like kind of get over it? Yeah, and it's great that you bring that up because definitely I think coming from that Asian background and speaking, I think at least for my upbringing in a traditional Chinese home, we aren't used to speaking about ourselves at all, much less our emotions, things that bother us. We're just kind of taught to obey.
Conceal, no feel.
Yeah. So, and I don't know, maybe some of that is in the way that our parents were brought up and, their political system, like, you just have to follow the rules, don't want to make any, don't want to get in trouble, don't make a scene, right?
Yeah.
But, that's in Asia. But in the same time in the US, like civil rights movement, black people were standing up for themselves. So definitely I think I can see that where that difference will come in. But it is great that you bring that up because now I think we do realize that there actually, is a lot of issues that people have. We just never thought about it. We never mentioned it. We never talked about it. So it is good now. And not like we don't struggle from it, right? You might be wary that this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm struggling with right now. And I'll tell it to you. But for those of us coming from our background, like we don't even know. We haven't dealt with that yet. We haven't even been told and seen the doctors and seen the people that are needed to be able to help us with that. So it's great that you bring that up.
Yeah. Also, I just want to comment that this food has given me life. I have not eaten all day, and I was just like, oh. And now I feel like, oh.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah. That's what it does. What do you think are some things that you can encourage people to do to step outside their comfort zones?
So I've encouraged them to actually read books that they wouldn't. Like, I know there's a lot of good books on like African American, like, I think it's ecclesiology, like how you read scripture. Talk to your black friends if you have them. If you don't, read the books.
How do you feel right now?
Well, the food gave me life, as I mentioned before, because I was hungry. I feel full, like physically, and I think just full, like kind of like emotionally and spiritually. Because like I don't know, talking about this stuff is good. There's a lot that can be learned, just from kind of like both sides of the pew. Because I mean, at the end of the day, we are brothers and sisters. There's merit in learning from each other. I think there's merit in kind of understanding people's backgrounds.
This is your favorite?
I
barely
always
touched it.
I always like Olding.
Okay.
I barely touched it because I'm full, and there was a lot. But I always love Olding.
I really like this.
Yes, I also like, that was my second one. I like how the meat just kind of falls off the bone.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Flavorful too. Spicy, sweet.
Yeah, just like you.